everyone. Welcome to our inaugural first ever Sunday study hall. This is the Winter Solstice study hall devoted to holy darkness, the darkness that knows. Welcome if you've been able to join here live. Welcome if you're watching the recording. I know that not all of you could attend live. This is a little bit, Sunday study halls are a bit of a combination of Sunday service, webinar. Really what we're doing is gathering together as students of the way around particular topics or, mysteries. And so today is winter solstice and holy darkness, what she is and how she serves and how we can know her most deeply, receive her most deeply, and be served by this time in the seasonal wheel. Also, the time of darkness in every moment of your life, right? So solstice and the way that this seasonal wheel, at least the way I hold it and experience it, is that solstice is the time when we renew our alliance with the darkness that knows, with the restorative darkness, with the whole realm of deep feminine power that lives and is substantiated in the darkness. And at this moment in time in the world, in creation, that mystery, that particular expression of love is made very clear, right? But what we gather around today and the connection that you cultivate, the trustworthy connection and reliance on holy darkness will carry with you then through into every time you go to sleep, every time you rest into darkness and commit yourself to rest, commit yourself to sanctuary at night, or choose to do that. Every time you rest in general, and every time you just kind of bring the darkness around you and quietude when you need it, even when everything is really bright. So this is a time of solstice for us, is a time to honor, right, where we are in the seasonal wheel. If some of you are in Australia, or this is actually your summer solstice, this is a time, how you can hold today's time is as a balance and as to make sure that you are anchored, right, and don't lose your connection to darkness and the grounding, the anchor that it is, right? So we do reconnect with the broader, wider, ancient natural laws, the movement of creation, which is so good for us. But we also reconnect with just the mystery of the dark in all the ways that it is in us, in our days, right, in our world. So welcome everyone. Yay, everybody's saying hi. Lots of you here, and I'm the Sunday study hall format is not so much of a sharing format, because I want to focus on just bringing this forward. So please, yes, I'd love it if you say hi in the chat, just so everybody knows that you're here and that I see you're here. You don't have to. But I won't necessarily be reading a lot out of the chat like I do in most of our webinars and other formats. This is more intended to really just be a time of deep receiving for you, and kind of allowing what arrives to arrive. So I'm going to be bringing forward lots of treasures around, kind of wisdom treasures around darkness and solstice, and what arrives for you, what nourishes you. Please take that as deep as you can. If questions come up or wonderments, those are yours to travel with a little bit, right? And not necessarily to answer right away. So So, welcome. Okay, we're 5 minutes in, and that should have been enough time for most of you to gather. We're going to just start here with a moment of prayer. Then I'm going to move into about, I've got it timed this time. I've got a plan. We'll see how it goes. What I would like to do is spend our first 40 minutes, so until 40 past the hour, just spend that in kind of an invocation of many different sensibilities around holy darkness. Just kind of bringing them forward, articulating them for you, that we can circle around them. And these are many from the school. Many of you will recognize them, but this is a collection of sensibilities around holy darkness and the way that she serves, that are, throughout the school and throughout other of teachings. And then we're going to spend our last 15 minutes in applied practice of that. So in a way, what we're doing is invoking her, and then we're going to work with embodying and really fully absorbing what has been spoken and kind of brought into the space, into your body, into your sensibilities, right? Kind of getting your own sense of what this is for you in your body, in your being, in this moment, right? And then we'll close. So, welcome everyone. So we'll start with a moment of prayer, and I invite you, in your own way, you can pray on your own. You can join me in prayer. I'll just call in a bit of a blessing around our time together. Thank you all again for joining me. I love to circle with women in at this time, especially winter solstice. It's just such. This is the deep yin moment of the cycle, and it is so potent for women, particularly, and there's such nectar here. The way my teacher Sarah just spoke it, she's like, there's a quenching in this time if we allow ourselves to have it. And it's so supported by the seasonal wheel right now, and to turn toward it at this time it's just even more potent, more easeful, right? It's more easy to access. So I'm glad you joined me. All right, let's just have a moment. You can just close your eyes or not, but just have a moment in your own way to offer up your prayer for this time, for yourself, for your world, or your loved ones. Just noticing what sacred need you may have come with to this time. Need for companionship, need for restoration, need for a sense of closeness to your truth. Need to reduce the static and remember the bigger laws, the bigger movements, whatever. Just notice why you came today, what your heart has to say. And we'll offer that up together. Shepherdess, protectress, we come together today as students in the way, students of the way, this way, deep feminine walking, deep walking, serving love. We ask to be shown even just a little more of your miracle, of your grace. And I ask that each woman who has gathered here today and offered her prayer and been honest about her sacred need, I ask that she be quenched in that place, that she be touched in that place, nourished and soothed in that place. Deep gratitude that we've all found each other in this moment. In your name, blessed be. Okay. So, any of you who joined late, we just kind of opened with some prayer, and we're going to spend the next half hour. I'm just going to kind of wash over you with teachings and sensibilities around holy darkness, and then we'll go into practice together. Um, so, when we're turning toward darkness here, we are turning toward the regenerative, holy darkness from which all light emerges and inside of which all light is made visible. So, just to be clear, when we turn towards darkness, we turn toward it as a place of deep feminine regeneration, restoration of power, right? Clarity, soothing, comfort. A lot of times, what we may encounter or what we may need to choose is to become aware of the darkness, not sometimes what we fill the darkness with, right? Well, this comes up in the school quite a bit as women repair their connection with darkness and just kind of release places where it may have been seen. And I know this is true often for winter solstice. There can be a certain level of apprehension about the long nights, the cold, the dark, right? And so here we're remembering what she really is and how to turn toward her, how to align with her so that we're deeply served by this time and deeply served by darkness. So, first of all, to acknowledge that the realm that darkness invites us into is not a linear realm. It is the realm where you cannot see by its nature. So, a lot of the mysteries and the wisdoms held in the dark times, and by dark, we don't mean the hard times. Here, we just mean the literal dark times, which sometimes are the hard times because you can't see what's happening. You don't know, right? They're often characterized by a kind of occlusion of your vision. But the darkness in general, the one of her greatest gifts is that she requires that we enter the felt sense. You can only feel your way through the darkness. You can only sense your way through darkness. You don't have any light. You can't see where you're going, right? I mean, we're in the realm where we're moving. We're looking at where essential darkness and the literal practicalities of darkness are the same thing, which they are in deep feminine way, right? This is the beauty of creation. So darkness is saying to you, okay, daughter, come into your felt sense now. I'm going to take away your sight. I'm going to walk with you. There's a deep companionship in holy darkness, but I'm going to bring you into your felt sense. So the loss or the covering over of our sight of the light, the gift in that is to quiet all of this and to insist that you come into your felt sense and remember again that you can feel your way, that you have so much more to you, that you have a deep knowing inside, an indwelling compass. There is a light that lives in you, right, that shines. And the felt sense and having being returned to that is so much of what her gift is. So when we say we're entering the realm of darkness, that's what we're saying. We're entering the realm of the felt sense, and you could call that the mystical realm, right? Where you sense your way and you are deeply listening and open and willing to be shown. In darkness, one of the gifts of holy darkness is that because she says, I'm not going to show you where you're going. You have, well, in that moment, I'm not going to let you see where you're going. We are also brought to a deeper level of prayer. Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me just. I just got back to Rum Island, and so the puppy has just woken up. We'll have a moment of that. Jill says she feels that Phoenix should make an appearance since he wants to say hello. So, those of you who are joining new, I live with a really beautiful service dog, a Kengal dog, and we fundraised for him. And so I just got back yesterday. So that's a lot of you already know Phoenix. So back to our back to where we were, but Phoenix is with us. And if we were walking in the dark and we didn't know where we were going, we would be very happy to have Phoenix by our side. That is for sure. Um, so that is what we're being welcomed into. We're being welcomed into the felt sense, always, right? Which is the realm of deep feminine walking, right? Very much so. So if you're in a realm that is where you're not being shown and you can't see for yourself what's going to happen, and in solstice, deeply, this is a time when you nest. It's actually not the time when you're broadcasting the vision. It's time when you listen for it, right? So the darkness does assist us in actually entering a deep listening because we have no other choice. And I think that's part of it, part of why the rhythms, why the cycles help us so much is that they make sure we don't go way too far in any direction. They keep insisting. If we really align with them, they won't let us go out of balance. They won't let us forget certain mysteries in the face of others. So this is not the time of the light. Okay. So show me is the prayer of solstice. Show me. What is the vision? What do you want me to see? When do you want me to see it? And the humbleness of saying, I can't see. That means, and if you can't see, that means she has to be very close to you. You are never abandoned in darkness. Holy darkness is a companioning, substantial force. It's not a void. And for me, that's been also really important to understand is that when we turn towards darkness, we're not turning towards some cosmic void. This is the cradle of holy darkness. This is the substantiated yin field. This is potentiated. It is nourishment. It is presence. It's deep presence. There is a substance to it. And that's what we are turning toward, right? So there is companionship in holy darkness. And part of what happens is when we let all the extra lights be quieted and we let ourselves come into rest, we slow down enough to feel her. We slow down enough to receive what's being given. And that is very much the gift of solstice, is to say, okay, daughter, slow down. Just slowly roll, even just for this little moment of time, even just because it's dark and it's cold, and this is what everything is doing, is going into hibernation. Slow down and feel me. Let yourself feel me, right? That there's a companionship in holy darkness. So other ways that she companions us in the dark is through silence. Solstice is also, it's also evoking and welcoming silence. Like, okay, this is the snow covering the ground with the night sky and the stars crystal clear. There's silence, which is also a substance. So at this time, we remember that when we choose silence, when we choose quietness, and when we choose darkness, we choose rest, we aren't choosing nothing. We're not choosing there's not an absence necessarily there. There's an immense presence there. There's something that can be absorbed and eaten and absorbed deeply into us effortlessly. That's one of the ways also that darkness serves, especially, I would say, the female body, the female psyche, just because we give so much and we are so responsive and we're so generative. That's the female nature, right? That's female sacred nature. Part of how darkness serves is to basically make it so that there's no more effort. And in that, there nothing, it's kind of like you're veiled, you're sheltered. No one can see you or find you. You can't see or find anyone else. And in that, you will restore because nothing is being given or taken. This is an effortless place When we talk about the kind of regeneration and restoration and replenishing that can happen in the cradle of holy darkness, it happens because we are finally in a place where nothing is being asked. Nothing is being given, even to be digested. It's just an absorptive state. So as you're moving towards darkness in this way, the invitation is to move towards absorption in darkness, as in like just letting her kind of like you're absorbing back into the the source of all things. I mean, ultimately, right? But this generative, gestational, incubational, right? Insulating force that just fills you back in. When we turn towards silence and we turn towards darkness, we do it knowing that they have actual substance to them. We remember that it's not the absence of sound and it's not the absence of light. It is the presence of silence and the presence of darkness. So, right, she absorbs us and absorbs into us. Um, I took a lot of notes so I wouldn't really lose the thread here, but I took them in a very sloppy kind of handwriting. Um, right. One other aspect of her, actually, that I've been more aware of lately is this there's something gently devouring about the darkness. And in all of these, everything that I'm inviting here is just for you to start to kind of like roll around on your tongue and kind of feel into what's there for you and what feels good, because that's what's in holy darkness too. It feels good. This is rest. How do they say it? Resting without resisting. The way to really restore and be restored in darkness is to rest without resisting. And so, whatever it takes for you to do that, that's what we're looking for. So I'm offering different ways to commune with the presence that's in darkness. But it's whatever you, kind of whatever allows you to just to notice if there's any resistance to resting or if there's any resistance to dark, and kind of letting that soften. Right? Giving yourself a way through that. So, one of the things I've been paying attention to is that she's gently devouring. Where there's almost a way that, like, anything that is just kind of done, I think of it, the visual for me is when you go to a river and there's a bunch of little fish in it, and you put your feet in, and the fish come and they nibble away at all the dead skin on your feet. I don't know if you've ever had that experience before, but it's like that. There's a gentle devouring. It's like, yeah, this is just dead skin, right? I know it seemed kind of convincing, but it's just dead skin. It's just a thin layer, and I'm going to take that off for you. There's a gentle devouring to her that is very liberating and very freeing. I mean, ultimately, the time that we spend going deep into solstice and deep into the dark is liberating. It liberates us to walk the rest of the cycle in a much more unburdened way, right? We lay it down at this time. This is what's being invited. Just lay it down. Lay the whole rest of the turn of the wheel, just lay it down and be made new for this new cycle. And that's one thing that I would say too, just along the lines of like, okay, just in case you have any, when you're looking for ways to be really, I mean, to literally sit in the dark or to welcome it into your being, there are things like, what did I just remind myself of? Oh, like, don't lose sight of the light. One of the reasons that solstice can be a kind of apprehensive time for people is that it can feel a little suffocating maybe, or just a little like you want out of the dark before it's ready. So what what is also invited there is to never lose sight of the light. You never lose sight. We don't want to lose our connection with the totality of the cycle. So when you give yourself fully to darkness, you're not giving yourself fully to darkness and her rest and her quiescence and all of that, and all of your release, you're not giving that to just go on forever, right? You are giving that knowing that she, even just the act of laying it down is what will evoke the light again, what will allow new life to rise again. So I think that the part of coming to solstice is doing that in relationship to the entirety of the wheel. You know, this is just the moment when you purify all that has been, and kind of lay down what is dead, lay down what is tired, and restore. And after restoring, you notice what's still really with you, what's still present and alive, and what you have the energy for. You know, when we talk about coming into alliance with, the some of what I feel like she's put in creation in order to serve us, right? Natural law reflects divine law, and it is here in order to assist us in our becoming. And so when we're willing to trust it and turn toward it and say, okay, holy darkness, I'm gonna let you have your way with me. I'm gonna let you, devour all the things. I'm gonna rest into, I'm gonna absorb into you completely, and I'm going to trust what is left after that. I'm going to trust what light remains. I'm going to trust, what energy is given to me. I'm going to ride that. This is how we ride the wheel, right? Okay. So that is a little about how she companions us. I wanted to speak to the aspect of darkness, quenching darkness, holy darkness. What is it that makes her so holy? And one of the things that is, for me most powerful with, kind of really inviting holy darkness in, and is that I know that she will only extinguish lights that are false. Any light in you, and we'll experience this, we'll work with this a little bit in the practice. Any light in you that's a true light, that is, kind of one of the incorruptibles inside of you, will only shine more brightly in the darkness. Darkness, holy darkness, is not, is not just occlusion. It's not it's not a dampening of everything. It extinguishes through this substantial kind of potency of her. She will extinguish all the false lights, everything that's gotten turned on in your head, in your being, all the ideas you had that didn't come to fruition, all the thoughts that haven't yet completed themselves, all the lights, all the excess that is by its nature not really true, or not current, or a little paper thin, or just staticky, or just a false light. It's a lie. It's an illusion. It's something that isn't even real. That is what holy darkness will extinguish. In her, it's like, oh, see my candle up above my head? In her, a true light is inextinguishable. She doesn't extinguish, she makes it brighter and clearer and cleaner and easier to see. Part of coming into, really resting into and absorbing into holy darkness is that you kind of let her just take away and extinguish, show you where the true light is, you know? And that's one of the ways that she serves, is to just say, "Hey," and it's a necessary thing. You're not supposed to not have any false lights going on. We live in a world, a culture of tons of false lights. And there are so many lights that are going to go off in your being, but then not come into fruition or whatever. That's why we turn to her, is because this is just a necessary part of the cycle. So holy darkness extinguishes all false lights and makes the true light more true. And this is where we kind of where we where we're really touching into, Tao medicine, Tao wisdom around true yin and true yang, right? So when we come into winter solstice, when we absorb into holy darkness, from a Taoist perspective, what we're doing is absorbing into the true yin field. The yin field is deeper, darker, wetter, it's underneath, it's inside, right? It is there's a quiet, potentiated potency in the yin field. She doesn't need to do anything, right? So the yin field, as she just is, she's just power. She's just what she is. In her, there's no need for movement. There's no need to say anything, do anything, be anything. And that's partly why she's so restorative to us, is that it is again, there's nothing being asked. You move into darkness and it's like, no, you don't have to, nothing to be here, nothing to show. Nobody could see you anyway, nothing to understand, nothing to see, right? This is beingness. She exists though in relationship to true yang, right? And they lead one into the other if they are made true. So we come into deep restoration in a true yin field, and we return. If you think of all the movement that you've made throughout this whole past year, right? Or everything that's moving in you in this moment, and everything that's moving in your world, and just everything. What we do is we bring it into we find our willingness to come to rest in the yin field, to bring it all to rest, to return it to darkness, and therefore see what emerges, trusting and knowing that what emerges is what's actually current. It's this is one of the ways I think of it as almost like threading, kind of weaving something. We weave the yang, you weave what you're creating, and everything that you are, and everything that you be and do and show, and everything, that's expressions of beauty. All expressions of beauty are yang movement, right? Everything. And it's, of course, that's amazing. It's who you are. And so but we kind of stitch that back into the yin field. And that's how we can, that's partly, the willingness to return in moments, in the night, seasonally, fully into the cradle of darkness, is how we continually make sure that our lives are going in a sustainable way, that we're not pursuing false illusions, something that was real but isn't anymore, something that was awesome but is no longer sustainable, something that's strangely empty even though it didn't seem like it was, or doesn't seem like it ought to be, right? So when we come to holy darkness, we're working now in Tao medicine terms. We're working now in terms of, the true yin field, and returning ourselves to fully, for at least a moment, to the yin field, her potency and her purification. And that's one of the things that darkness offers. Similarly, I think a lot of times people think of light as purifying, and it is in its way, but there's a way that darkness, for me, is actually more profoundly purifying because of what I said, which is it extinguishes all the false lights. That is incredibly purifying, liberating, right? And it purifies our actions, it purifies our intent, it purifies what we're creating, right? It makes it all true. Okay, so that's that. So we have touched on the realm of the felt sense. We have touched and the realm of please show me, the realm of prayer. The way that she companions us there, the companionship that's in holy darkness. Um, We've talked a little bit about why I consider it to be holy darkness, quenching darkness. And then we've talked about yin and yang a little bit, and how making sure that we're weaving this moment, this depth of time in the darkness into the totality of the seasonal wheel and into the fullness of the height of expression and the brightest lights. Um, the last piece I'll touch on about holy darkness is that she is the fecund. And there's not actually, I don't think, that much in our world, things that you can see, you know, the realm of Beltane and summer solstice and everything, kind of all the other turns of the wheel, except for, anyway, anything that you can see is not of the fecund. Anything that you can see is the fruit of the fecund. The fecund darkness is the gestational, hibernating, incubating, insulated potency under the ground, you know, in the yin field, in the unseen. So we're really in this time touching into the purity of the fecund and allowing ourselves to become fecund again, right? A field has to lie fallow for a minute before it will become fertile enough to yield again, right? So the darkness is that she is fecund. Again, that's why she's not an absence. This is not a void. It's not an emptiness. It's not, the absence of light. The fecund is full of life, and it's just that you can't see it. It hasn't broken the ground yet, right? So, and when we come to here, it's to rejoin and to become again fecund. So as you're moving towards holy darkness or moving towards rest or finding the way to give yourself the kind of restoration that can only be found here, I think it's helpful to understand. It's like, okay, right, this is me I'm going to become fecund. We're not trying to become fertile even. We're not trying to yield anything. We're not trying at all, you know. It's fecundity. So, and like I said, the processes that can happen, the things that can happen for us in this realm are the necessary processes of hibernation, incubation, insulation, and gestation. So even if you feel like you're in a particularly exuberant time, this is still a time to tend to, in this place, this is where we tend to what is gestating in you, what needs insulating, what needs to be incubated a little bit longer and needs to feel that it's a time of shelter. We shelter in holy darkness, right? It's a time of veiling, kind of moving into the realm of the hidden, where a lot of secrets live, where your hidden sacred lives, right? She is veiled. She lives in the infield, right? She's inside. She has depth. She's underneath, right? There's a gravity to her, right? She's deeply within you. She's in a secret place. Then that's part of why solstice and darkness are such necessary. It's such a necessary nourishment for, well, for women in general, like I said, because of the way that we're made to generate and to respond and all these things, but also because for deep feminine women, for women who are attuned to sacred nature, their own sacred nature, we get exhausted in that place by too many and too much and all the lights and all the thoughts and all the showing and all of that. We become amnesiac after a while because it's the hidden sacred. Your hidden sacred kind of only will really reveal herself if there's a certain amount of sheltering, a certain amount of veiling, right? So this remembering, just remembering, and that's a lot of what we're doing together, just remembering it's important to incubate, it's important to insulate, it's important to shelter, right? It's important to do all these things and holy, and there it will bring you in touch with your fecund, and it will allow your hidden sacred to reemerge so that you can taste her again and remember her, and you slow down enough to know her. So my alarm is going off. I timed myself. So those are some, those are some considerations, right, around holy darkness, and maybe particularly this time of year. What I'd like to do is kind of take you into a more embodied practice so that all of that can become an experience for you, and something that you taste, right? So we've kind of set the stage, we've set the table, and now we're feast. So what I will do, if you can go ahead wherever you are, get yourself in a position that feels good, that feels restorative, actually. So, I mean, sure, sit up if you want to, but maybe find a way to feel supported where you're sitting, or if you lay down, great. When we're moving into the darkness that knows, and the effortlessness is a lot of what we're kind of entering with. So find a way to wherever you are to just notice and feel a little more supported. Do anything you need to do to, like, you need to get a drink of water, anything that you need to do for a moment to just feel more comfortable and available to drop in for maybe 10-15 minutes. I may pause and mute if we have any more. Uh, if we have any more little, have any more phoenix, a little more of our phoenix. But if you've gotten yourself to a place where you feel comfortable and kind of warm, right? I'm going to leave my eyes open for this, by the way. And usually I close them, but I want to just pay attention to my surroundings a little bit. And I don't know, some of you maybe are joining, and you're not really in a place where you can just cozy up on the couch. If you're joining and just listening in and you've got other things going on, you can still practice with us. You can just soften your gaze and just let yourself become aware of both. You don't have to give yourself all the way to one or the other. I'd like to have you begin by actually leaving your eyes open. So before you close your eyes, those of you who are able to, and it feels good to close your eyes, before you do, I invite you to just soften your gaze, notice your eyes, notice your brow, notice the space between your eyes. And just begin to soften your gaze while still looking at your world, what's around you. And just begin to let your vision, you can look around just the place you are, locating yourself. It's right here where you are, no need to change anything. Just becoming receptive through your eyes rather than penetrative. Beginning to just let the world fall in more than you go out to the world. Softening your eyes and your gaze and beginning to breathe into and out of your heart. So before you're even closing your eyes, just taking this moment to very gently become aware of where you are and to become aware of your heart. No effort. Doesn't need to feel or look like anything. Just letting yourself breathe into and out of your heart while you soften your gaze. Just letting your heart draw you more deeply in. Softening your heart in the same way that you softened your gaze, just allowing your heart to become receptive, letting her rest. And then as you're ready, you can allow your eyes to close. As they close, just letting the darkness, letting the ease, letting it begin to wash over your eyes, through your eyes, and down through your body. If you have to leave your eyes open, you can just tune in to the darkness and silence that's around all light and all sound. With that simple act of just closing your eyes, with your intent, just allow the quenching, soothing darkness bring your eyes to rest, nothing to see. Releasing strain from your brow, from your mind, letting the darkness just cushion your thoughts, cushion, insulate your mind, coming in around your thoughts. It's quieting, nothing to understand, not right now. For now, it's just rest. And just letting that begin to, that quenching, the soothing, the insulating, just letting that begin to move down over your jaw, through your throat. It's quieting your voice. It's okay. You don't need to speak anything right now. You don't need to articulate or present yourself in any way. Just resting your throat, letting your voice, your truth be insulated. Let it rest deeply. Softening over your shoulders, down through your heart. Down through your low belly. Just following it now just following the darkness through you, the nourishing, quenching, holy darkness, just following her through your body. Letting her fill you back in, insulating, nourishing, only giving. Just a few moments there of just letting yourself be served. You don't need to think about this. You don't need to try. Just let the parts of you that are thirsty for this deep, nourishing, soothing, just let them drink. Saturating your body with holy darkness. strengthening and filling, substantiating. And then as you're ready, you can become aware of the space around your body. So the space right around your body, of the space in which you sit or lay in this moment, in front of, behind, to either side of you, above and below you. And without thinking about it, just let yourself become aware of what is too much, too bright, of false lights that are around you, maybe even in you, but particularly around you in your field. And just welcome holy darkness to fill the space around you. Allowing her to gently extinguish what's false, too bright, too much. Not thinking about this, don't try to make it apply to your life necessarily. Just let your being be served. And just continuing on every breath to let your body, your spirit, let your being drink of darkness, holy darkness. Aware then of a light in your heart. Aware of that light in your heart that is being made more clear. And noticing maybe there are other lights in you that are just now so clear, shining in the darkness. Don't look for it, just relaxing into your body, relaxing and receiving, trusting it's okay. Holy darkness is an ancient knowing. She serves the light in you. So just a few breaths of letting yourself absorb and be absorbed into holy darkness, releasing any strain, and watching, noticing, seeing where the light remains, where your true light remains. Just breathing, a few more breaths, gentle. And then as you're ready, you can just, with eyes closed or still in this softened place, you can bring your hands to somewhere on your body. The soothing, sheltering touch, maybe over your eyes, over your mind, over your heart, just noticing where you might like to seal this unto yourself or bless your body. Maybe just a few more moments of really drinking in your own light, quality, the presence. And then as you're ready, you can come back to the call. I mean, I guess technically, because of the format, if you want, you can just stay in this state. We have just a few more minutes until we close. And although we're not necessarily doing a lot of sharing and questions and answering, if you want to take the opportunity to share in the chat, just kind of, take a moment to, um, you know, kind of articulate for yourself maybe your biggest takeaway or what you want to move with from here or anything that you would like to just share with the group, with us, and to, I guess, kind of crystallize for yourself from our time. The practice, Sequoia, when she sends out the recording, she's also going to excerpt the practice. So this, was a roughly 15-minute practice that we just did. You'll have that to kind of keep just, maybe you listen to it before bed or at a moment when you need a little bit of rest or when you're feeling overwhelmed, right? This is the gift that, the darkness, and her quenching. It's for all of the just too bright, too much lights. Anytime anything is too much, too bright, you're whatever, or you're just so tired. This is when we rest. This is when we turn to her and let her restore us. So you'll have that to support you in that. Susan says, hearing the background sounds and knowing I was helping to cultivate sacred space for us brought a big smile to her heart. Oh, good. It's beautiful because as I've been with you, the dark has fallen. Like it's just the last little bit of light. And last night was solstice night, but so we're still very much, and we will be for some weeks, very much in the solstice window. But um yeah, while I've been focused with you all, the dark has been kind of, settling down in the forest and settling down all around. So we'll close here in the next minute. I'll go ahead and close with a prayer just to close our time together. Um, I hope this has. Oh, Cece says, cultivating the dark space of nourishment has been so nourished. I think you guys share and then it comes out later. Since COVID began, she sometimes wonder how or when she'll be ready to return to the brightness of light. Um, it's interesting because I think one of the things that happens is when we actually start cultivating a relationship of nourishment with darkness, the balance does shift. It becomes something that you'll want because it gives life. You know, it's like that kind of illusion that life is only in the light and it's only what you can see, that starts to break down a little bit, and coming more into balance means that, yeah, you'll start to really need her and want the darkness, and it'll be, but no, and knowing that that's not hiding, that's just restoration, you know. Yeah, Sarah says she craves darkness like water. I've gotten to a place where I really love it too. Like at night, it's like, oh, there you are. And this is really wonderful. It's a huge gift. And it right. Abby says she felt a lot of resistance to the darkness and sometimes still does, but much less. A sense that she should be doing something, achieving. But stopping and resting during this deep season will actually help her rebirth. Yeah. And for those of you, many of us, I mean, we love what we love. We love what we create. We love living, whatever we love, we love. And so this is, right, to always remember that this is in service to your light. This is in service to the life that you live, always. Because this is not stagnation. There are ways to turn off the lights and just stagnate in your own thoughts. That's not what we're doing. There are ways that it can go dark and you're still not restoring. We are actually cultivating a relationship of power and deep of power with holy darkness, right? That's different, and it will change your relationship to all of it. So I know it's time for us to go. I'll just say thank you all so much for being with me. I pray that our time together quenched something in you, that there's a nourishment kind of upwelling in you, that you can feel yourself filling back in and your reservoirs beginning to fill again effortlessly. And that your rest into darkness and into support and into real and into this hemisphere of life, that it is luxurious for you. That's what I pray. Blessed be. All right, you all. Well, the first ever, Noelle likes luxurious, our first ever Sunday study hall devoted to solstice. I thank you all for being with me for it. I really loved this time with you. And I'll see you hopefully soon.